right, well, let's get started. Then as people filter in, we can I'll just let them in. We usually always have a bunch of late people coming in. So all right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out to what month is it? June. Holy crap, it's June. It's gonna be like 4th of July, like in 2 weeks, isn't it? Like the
Oh
year
yeah,
literally half over.
but we have about 15 people on Twitch, so
All right, cool. Yeah, we always have a bunch of late comers, so they'll be piling in late. Plus we're doing this meeting a little bit earlier than normal, so usually we do 6:30. So
okay.
I have a feeling some people will be showing up late. So welcome everybody. Let's kick things off here. So welcome to the June meeting. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to do a little quick demo in Premiere talking about text-based editing. Going to kind of show that real quick. And from there, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Stephen Burns, who will be showing you some amazing Photoshop generative fill stuff, as well as whatever else he has up his sleeve. Stephen always has stuff up his sleeve, and I'm always happy to see well, yeah, he's got short sleeves tonight, but yeah, excuse me. Jack in the Box dinner is not going down too well. So anyway, but yeah, before we get started, I don't think we have any announcements. I think DJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but July is usually our month to do our like social meeting, correct?
It is. We usually try to have it, around the Comic-Con time. Now I am traveling a lot in July, so if we wanted to not, it wouldn't hurt my feelings, but that's a good reason for it. But yeah, that's usually when we do it, just to kind of give people a break for, so that they can go to Comic-Con, check out all the cool things.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be at Comic-Con. They accepted 2 of my panels. In fact, I will be on 3 panels at Comic-Con this year.
I will be on no panels, so that's all. Oh, dude, what panels? What tell us what your panels are.
All right, so good question. What are my panels? I'm forgetting the title of my panels. so one of them is I'll look it up a little bit, but one of them is basically is their 3D panels. They're Blender 3D with Unreal Engine, which is one to tell a story. I think is what it's called. And I think the other one is 3D Blender 3D for texturing interiors, exteriors, to build a story, something of that along those lines.
Okay.
And then the third one is called full-time creative on a part-time schedule, which is on Sundays. So my first 2 panels, one is on Thursday, one is on Friday. They're primetime slots actually, and in the big room, which I'm excited about. Last year we did this Blender for the first time, and we got a full attendance, so it was kind of nice. So nice. Hopefully we'll have the same thing again. But the last one's on Sunday, which is usually the last hour of the day, the last day of Comic-Con, and it's always jam-packed. Don't know why, but always jam-packed.
Nice. Well, I got my 4-day pass, and so I'll be taking the kids down there.
Oh, that'll be great.
Like 1 or 2 days. I think I take my son one day, I take my daughter one day, and then I got a pass for my wife on Sunday, so the 4 of us will probably come down there. So, all right, cool. Well, good. Well, for those people watching this now or who watch the recording, be sure to check out Stephen's meetings or his panels at Comic-Con. So let's see. I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else to really talk about or announce. So,
hey, Eric.
Yes.
We have Media Pros, San Diego Media Pros has a drone workshop coming up on Sunday, July 9th.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe it starts at 10:30 a.m. at Kit Carson Park in Escondido. And we'll have some various drone operators there. Part of the workshop will be talking about, or focus on the workshop will be talking about people who need to use drones, not just for, so this isn't just for drone operators, but for production folks learning the vernacular and the hows and whys and what to do with getting a drone or using a drone in their production. So that is coming up, and it will include lunch.
Nice. That's interesting, because a friend of mine just got a drone. We do mountain bike riding together. He bought a drone so that he can get the drone to track us while we're riding.
Oh, did you get a Mavic? The DJI?
I don't know which one he got. I forgot. He told me, I forgot what it was, but there was one of them that would actually track you. So I guess he wears a tracking watch or something, and the drone would track us as we're riding. So we're kind of excited about playing around with that technology.
Yeah, a buddy of mine did that. He does it on his motorcycle, and he has it following him.
Yeah.
He's off-road.
I've seen people do that who like, yeah, they'll be driving in the car and they'll be flying the drone like over them, and they kind of track with them to get, follow the cars that's going. Those are always cool shots. So very cool. Well, yes, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I don't know that I'll be able to make that. I'm going to try to make it, but yeah, that definitely sounds like a very cool meeting.
We have some early, or I'm planning on. I have our friend coming down. Well, he lives here, but he's a Hollywood screenwriter, semi-retired Hollywood screenwriter, and we're going to do a workshop in August with him and one of his writing partners.
Nice. What's his name?
John Wyrick is his name.
Okay.
And Michael Ross is the guy that is his writing partner. He's done various films, TV shows, and like that. So anyway, he's a good friend, and he and I have worked together on some stuff, and he's local, so he's going to be speaking. That'll be a Thursday night in August.
Cool. All right, we'll definitely look forward to that then. So.
Sure.
All right. Well, let me share my screen here, and then I will start my little Premiere demo, and then we will turn it over to Stephen here. So let's not do that. Let me share my screen first. Share screen.
I guess this will be the time I'm going to kind of put our little shout out to Facebook.
Oh, there you go.
Your least favorite social media app.
It is my least favorite. That is true.
Oh, there's so many to choose from that I'm sure come in way
well,
worse
yeah.
than
Yeah, no, that's probably true. So
yeah.
Okay, so I've been meaning to do this demo for a while now. It's just kind of a short one, and probably a lot of people have seen this, but I kind of wanted to go through it for those who haven't seen it and kind of show you kind of a workflow that I've been developing on how to use this feature. So it's basically it's text-based editing. It's exactly what the name says. So I've got an interview clip here. This is the new import panel for those who are not familiar with it. There's a lot of people that don't like this panel. I happen to I've grown to actually like it. It doesn't really bother me, but I know there's a lot of angst in Premiere land right now with the new import and export panels. But anyway, let's talk about a few things here. So I've got the clips here. So just like you normally would, you would select the clips that you want to import. And let's say I want to import all 3 of these. I've already kind of set the project up, so I'm not actually going to import them, but that's how you would normally select them. And then, but let's come over here to automatic transcription. So the way Premiere kind of works now is that if you're doing a project where you need to, you've got some interviews, let's say, and you want to transcribe them and be able to take advantage of this text-based editing, you can still do the transcriptions once everything is inside Premiere and work that way. Or what you can do is tell Premiere right from the get-go, like, hey, I'm going to be bringing in a bunch of interview footage and I want you to transcribe it all right from the get-go. And so you would click this button right here and turn that on. Now, a warning, when you turn that button on, from this point forward, anything that you bring into Premiere, whether you want it transcribed or not, is going to transcribe. Wow. And I have found this out the hard way when I have brought in a bunch of footage, left that on, and then I brought in B-roll footage that had audio with it. And Premiere tried to transcribe it, even though it was just, people talking in the background and whatever. And I didn't really need it transcribed, but because I left that on, there was audio there. Premiere just said, hey, we're going to transcribe that. And that can impact your playback performance. So I would, say once you import in all the stuff that you want to have transcribed, come back to the import panel, turn that off, and then you should be good to go. And then, like I said, if you're bringing in just single clips after that, you can easily just set it up to transcribe inside Premiere. Now, kind of working through these things here, speaker labeling, you can turn that on or off if you don't want it. I would encourage you to leave the speaker labeling on, but again, it depends on your workflow. The other thing down here that's kind of important to recognize is this panel right here, auto transcribe clips only in sequence or imported clips. So basically what Premiere is asking, do you want to import or do you want to create transcripts for each individual clip? For instance, I've got clip 1, 5, and 8 here. So it would transcribe all of 1, transcribe all of 5 and 8, and that metadata would live with those individual clips. Or if you come up here and create a new sequence and turn that on, and then put all those clips on that sequence, it'll transcribe all those clips, but the transcription will live as on the sequence as opposed to the individual clips. Now, there's nothing really wrong with working that way. I like it to be on the individual clips as opposed to like the sequence, even though those clips are going to end up on a sequence anyway. But this way, wherever I move those clips around, because I did it at the clip level, the transcription will sort of move around with it. So I like having it that way. Whereas, if you leave it at the sequence level, it'll just be that sequence that sort of has the transcription. So, again, it's all dependent on your workflow. But it's nice to have the option. They give you that ability to choose. So I'm going to turn this off since I've already set everything up here. Let's just go into my edit tab here so we can see. So I've got the clip in, and here's my clip. Now, let's talk about workspaces. So Premiere has a new workspace called text-based editing. And so I'm going to switch over to that for my own custom workspace. And when I do that, you will see in just a second here, there is my transcription. So I went through and already did all this ahead of time. But normally, once you select the clips, choose the auto transcription, click the button, it'll bring everything in. And then up here, there's a new progress panel. And that will sort of let you know, it'll show you over in the area over here, kind of that everything's transcribing all the different clips, and you'll have a little project update right up here that'll kind of let you know how far things are along. But yeah, but like I said, I've already done all the work. And so if we play this back, you can see.
So when we analyze Massimo's genome,
and I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, probably because I didn't share my thing. Let's see if I can advance sharing options. Share one at a time. Okay, well, forget where you turn on the audio, but it's not really that important. So, but anyway, but you can see it's all transcribed here. So now the next step I would do in this case, if I was working with a client and I've got this interview and I want to send the client the transcription and the video clip for them to be able to look at, to sort of build to edit it down, to tell me what to keep in and what to cut out. So I would click here, and we've talked about this before. You can export to a text file, and that'll create literally a text file, not a Word doc or anything like that, a TXT file. So I usually convert them into Word docs because clients have easier go of that, especially my corporate clients. They live in Word anyway, so it's easier if I just convert it that way. So so I have already done that, and I'm going to come over here, and you can see this is what it outputs, and it's got time code, breaks it down every 30 seconds. And so then what I tell the client to do at this point is I let them kind of work the way they're comfortable with. But the thing that I ask them to do is to turn on tracking and then just go through and literally cut out the parts they don't want. Highlight it and then hit delete, and it'll put those little red lines in there. And so that tells me, just from a visual standpoint, you don't want that bit. And so I've already kind of gone through and done an edit, and you can kind of see here, I've cut out these different parts. And so these are the parts that, let's say, the client doesn't want me to have. The advantage to doing it this way and keeping the structure and seeing everything is it's real easy now to go back in and just say, okay, because it's broken down into like a paragraph format, every 30 seconds, I know that looking at this, for example, they want the first two paragraphs, but that third paragraph they want cut out completely. So I'm going to come back into Premiere here, and I'm going to go into my, I'm going to create a new sequence, and we'll call this rough edit. Oops. Okay, so now you'll see over here, there's no dialogue found because, there's nothing in the sequence. But if I come back over here, I'm going to put my clip, I'm going to load it up into the source monitor. Now you'll see down in this little selection right here, follow active monitor. So when I've got the source monitor selected, it shows me the transcript for that individual clip. Another reason why I like to keep the transcription on the individual clips. Normally what I would do in this instance is I would create a pancake timeline, and I would have the clip, the interview on the top timeline, and I would have a blank timeline on the bottom. This case, my rough edit. But in this particular instance, I want to be able to, and then I would make cuts following the script and then just drag, those sound bites down. But what I can do here now is I can, wait, that's my program monitor. I need to look at my source monitor. Let's load this up. It keeps, does it keep doing that? I want to get rid of this. I want to just load up my thing in the source monitor. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I've got the clip. I was selecting the sequence. That's what the problem was. Okay, so you can see here when I click on the source monitor, I see transcript, but when I click down here, I see nothing. And it's because I'm following the active monitors. Whatever is selected is what it's going to show me. So now we go back and look at my script. We see we want those first two paragraphs, and then we don't want the third. So I don't have to play the video clip at all here. I'm just going to go to the top of my transcript. Let's just drag the playhead back here. And so let's see. So we start with when we analyze. So I'm just going to highlight these two. And then I can come up here, and if you're a mouse driven guy, you can click on insert, or if you're the keyboard, I can just hit the comma key. But when I hit that comma key, boom, it's right there. It's now on my timeline. So I'm going to come back down here. I don't want any of that second paragraph, but I only want this first sentence or so right up until where it says and in that other paragraph. So let's come down. We'll skip that whole paragraph. I'm just going to highlight this, go right up to where it says and we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to hit my comma key. Boom, we add that in. And then you can see now I'm going to go to where the next sentence starts with I know. So there it is right there. So I'm just going to take that. I think that's all we're going to take for that. Yep. So I'm going to hit my key again, comma key. And then I'm going to pick up with his neurologist. And right here, and we want this whole thing right there. So I'm going to hit my comma key again. Oops. And there it adds it in. So you can see I'm basically building out my rough cut with all the sound bites just by doing, everything inside the timeline or everything inside the text transcript, as opposed to going through the actual video clip itself and trying to find those sound bites. And I can search for stuff too. For instance, once I have all this done, if I need to find the point where he talks, like, I don't know, somewhere in this 24-minute clip, he mentions the word genome. And I need to find that one time where he said genome and he used it in this one particular way. So I can come up here, choose this. I'm going to search for genome. And you can see now it's highlighting every instance where genome is. And I can use this little down key to kind of go down and search for all the places where he says genome. But let's see, I think I'm in the rough edit here. I want to be here. And so anyway, so yeah, I can find all the places where he says genome. And that, again, is a huge, huge help for me. I'm not sure why it is not switching back over to this one. Oh, do I need to come to source monitor? That's why. That was my problem. So genome, let's search for genome again. Okay, so this is in the entire thing. So now you can see, I can kind of go through and find all the different places where he says genome in the script. And you can see the playhead over here as I click moves to go where it says it. So I can find that soundbite that I was looking for real quick and real easy just by being able to search for the word. So that's how I build out rough cuts now. No more going through and trying to, follow along or, that kind of thing. Give the clients that transcript, have them make the edits in it, and then I can come back and I can start building the rough cut just by using the transcript itself. Now, you might be saying, oh, these little dots, what are these things? These are pauses where the person is like pausing. And you can see if you hover over it, 0.1 seconds. I think this one's like 8 seconds, 0.8 seconds. You can turn those off just by clicking right here, and it will get rid of those. You can increase the font size if you need to. As you get older, who can look at that? Let's come about halfway. There we go. These old eyes, that looks great. But anyway, it is a really handy way of working. And I'm finding myself building out these first rough cuts, or what we call radio cuts. One way I like to work is, what I tell a client is we just need to build the narrative spine of our story. We don't need B-roll. We don't need music, any of that stuff for first cut. All we need to do is find our story. And that's through all the sound bites. And so I will just do a string out of all the sound bites that they select, maybe clean it up a little bit here and there, and then send that to the client and say, okay, is this telling the story that you want to tell? And they'll sometimes say, oh, you know what, we need to trim this or trim that, or can we add this part back in now? We feel like we need that. And then once that's locked and you have that narrative spine built of just the sound bites telling the story, then we'll go in and we'll put in B-roll. We'll space things out. We'll let the sound bites breathe a little bit. We'll put in music and graphics and all that kind of stuff. And then it starts to look more polished. But when you're just trying to crack that code and try to figure out like, okay, what is the story that I'm trying to tell? That's that's where this really kind of comes in. So all right, so that's text-based editing, kind of real fast. Are there any questions before we move on?
You made my day, Eric. I was wondering because our educational people use Camtasia because they just do very simple edits, and that has text-based editing in there. And I was wondering when all this was going to come, to Premiere. Now, is this the current version or is this an upcoming version?
This was introduced in 23.4.
Okay.
So you have to be. They actually just released 23.5. Well, they released it yesterday. I didn't get the download until today. But you have to be on at least 23.4 to be able to do the text-based editing.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And one other question, because I do use I've used transcription, although I haven't used it on import. I've just used it once I have something in the sequence. And I'll find sometimes it consistently makes mistakes or has trouble with certain words. Is the AI getting better so that if you make a correction, it'll learn that and then correct it if you rerun the transcription?
Well, so I will say that, it depends. I've found that since they put the transcriptions feature inside of Premiere, it's gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I do a lot of biotech stuff. And so there's a lot of tech terms that it doesn't always get right. And, listen, I don't expect it to. I can't pronounce some of the words. So it's like, how am I going to expect this AI engine to do it? But it generally gets a lot right. I mean, we're at the point now where, if it's just general conversation, I expect it to be 95 to 98%, maybe 99% accurate. But changing things is super simple. I mean, you can just come up here and search for the word. So for instance, genome, I searched for that. There is a replace option, and you can go through and choose to, if a word is spelled incorrectly throughout the whole thing, you can go in and select it, choose what you want to replace it with, and then it'll go through and replace that in the transcript. So that is something that you can do, is make those kind of global corrections like that. I usually tell clients when I give them these transcripts, like, hey, I always kind of put it this way. You have two options to do transcripts. I can do them for you, at no extra charge, but it's kind of baked into the cost, so they are kind of getting billed for it, but, I can kind of just do them here in my system, but it's not going to be 100%, or I can pay a service to do it. And it's going to, cost a lot of money, but it's going to be 100% accurate. And 99.9% of the time, people are like, yeah, just let the AI do it. We'll figure out where the mistakes are, So I feel bad for transcription companies because they're, especially like rev.com. Remember rev.com? Yeah, I think they're pretty much toast at this point. No, I shouldn't say that. There's still people that will probably use them.
It's like a new job for the secretary.
Yeah. Yeah, go through. Well, I will say too that, something to kind of keep in mind about that I always tell clients is you really need to, a lot of times they'll just look at the transcript, and I always post a video clip for them to watch as well. And I tell them to sort of go through both at the same time, because the transcript, it doesn't always, it conveys what they say, but it doesn't always have the right, like people might pause, or there's no ums or ahs in the transcript. Like the Premiere transcription engine won't include those. And so if people are kind of umming or ahhing a lot, those won't be in there. And then when they go to cut it, it's like, I have to kind of cut, they'll say, oh, well, you need to cut out the ums and ahs. That wasn't in the transcript. It's like, well, yeah, but it was in the video clip. It's what they said. And I can't just pull those out without B-roll to go over it, because it'll be a jump cut, and so, and just sometimes the way people sort of their cadence and other things, the transcript doesn't really convey that. So you really need to sort of sit with both to sort of fully kind of understand, like, okay, because I'll have people that want me to just word splice, like, oh, just take out where he says this one word. It's like, no, can't do that, or sometimes I've been able to with like morph cut, but most of the time, it doesn't really work that way. And so anyway, so yeah, I always tell people to do that, but yeah, it's really an amazing feature. And you know, I'm so happy to have it now. As somebody who cuts a lot of stuff, you know, like this for corporate clients, you know, cutting up sound bites and putting interviews together and doing sort of mini documentaries, you know, it's just a game-changing kind of support feature. I mean, super, super cool.
This is awesome. This really is. You may be saving my bacon and saving me a lot of late nights come fall.
Well, that's what I try to do, Jeff. Just if I can give you one good thing to help you out and walk away from each meeting, then I feel like I'm going to sleep better tonight. So
glad to hear it.
Any other questions before I turn it over to Stephen Burns? All right.
Yeah, this is Justin. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Justin. Yeah, what's up, man?
Internet lag.
No worries.
Any sort of bugs or issues that you've noticed to look out for? I've definitely found a couple of the features sort of counterintuitive, particularly when you're like selecting a whole bin or a bunch of clips and you're just saying, hey, bulk transcribe all this, and then it does that, spends an hour on it, and then later it goes, oh, still hasn't done it. So any kind of weird stuff?
So I will say that, you know, and I haven't tested. So as I mentioned, I think I said this before you came on, but they released 24.5 today, and that fixed a lot of bugs. So, but I will say with the initial release, so I started a project and I brought in, I'll go back to my import panel here. I don't think I have anything on my laptop here. My workstation that's sits over here next to me has the bulk of my work, but I brought in, I want to say we shot 8 interviews, each of them probably 20 to 25 minutes each. And then there was a bunch of smaller sound bites. So, I mean, I don't know. I brought in maybe like 13 or 14 clips, and said, and clicked the auto transcription and turned that on, brought it in. And when I did, Premiere kind of, I thought it was choking, you know, and it seemed to not be doing anything. I mean, it said it was transcribing everything, but it didn't seem to be making any progress.
But you could see it in the queue on the upper
But I
right.
could see it in the queue. Yeah, it looked like it was all there. It looked like it was kind of doing its thing and it was trying to get going. And I'm like, you know what? I think I broke it. You know, I think my 15 clips just might have been too much for it. So I stopped it all. And then I kind of had a second thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I just, you know, me being a little impatient. My wife will tell you that I have that problem. I disagree with her, by the way. But
she's wrong.
She's not here. So I'm right. No, she does have a point. So I went back in, I opened up Premiere, did all that same stuff, and it was around lunchtime. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to let it sit here. I'm going to go to lunch. So I went to lunch for about an hour. When I came back, it was all done. I don't know how long it took, but it did it all. It got it all done. So I know at the initial release, sometimes when you know, like I said, these clips were 20 to 30 minutes each, and I had 14 or 15 of them. And so to set all that up in a queue, you know, I think it just took Premiere a little while to sort of sort everything out, you know, and then process it all and then get it all done. So that's been the only sort of wonkiness that I've noticed, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, there might be other stuff out there, people doing different things with different settings, but I haven't noticed anything that's been show-stopping for me, you know.
I mean, this is your material, so it's clean sources. I've got like a documentary for a nonprofit, and they handed me a folder full of like 250 clips, including Zoom recordings.
Oh,
I just threw it all out. I was like, fuck it, I'm throwing this all at transcription. It does the thing, and then I left it overnight, came back the next day, and then each time I open a clip, it's like, oh, you have to transcribe it again. I was like, oh, I don't know what happened. But you know what? I wasn't there to watch it, so.
You know, and one thing I would recommend is if you have Zoom recordings, and again, I don't know how much stuff you're talking about here, but you know, if it's not a substantial amount of stuff, you know, we'll say like 10 clips or something like that. One thing you could do, but you know, like I mentioned before, I might have mentioned this before you came on, you don't have to use this automatic transcription. So you can select all your clips to come in, bring it all in, and then once it's inside Premiere, you can then choose to transcribe everything.
Yeah, that's how I did it. Just sort of selected in bulk and then transcribed.
So you could, for like your Zoom clips, what you could think about doing is bring it in, but don't transcribe it. The important thing, like I said, is, you know, if you want to bring in a few clips to transcribe, you know, click the button and then it'll do it when you import it in, but then be sure and turn that off, because it'll transcribe everything that you bring in after that
Gotcha.
point, even if you do it don't do it in this panel. Even if I'm here and I double click over here and import a clip
Right.
inside my thing, it's gonna auto transcribe it. But
Okay.
what I was gonna say is, with your Zoom clips, bring those in, export out. Do you know about Adobe Podcast?
Uh-huh.
So bring the clip in, export out just an audio file, you know, and then send that audio file, a good waveform, to Adobe Podcast, have it clean it up, bring the audio back in, and then try to transcribe from that. And I bet you'll get better results and it'll work a lot smoother, you know.
For Adobe Podcasts, are you just using the web interface, or is there
Yeah,
something
because right
I'm
now
missing?
that's all it really is.
That's all there is. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Okay.
until they
Cool.
put it inside Premiere, which, you know, I have to
Or
believe it has to
Audition.
pray that
Hello.
it's coming. Well, yeah, I mean, it'll probably end up in Audition. But you know, there's been a number of us that have been rather vocal with Adobe that it needs to be in Premiere, like, I don't know, yesterday. And so I know that I'm pretty sure that it's on their roadmap, but
Yeah.
I just don't know when. And so, but yeah, until they put it in here, that's the only way to go, is through the website. But dude, I've done so many Zoom recordings. I had a whole project where everything was recorded through not Zoom, but Riverside, which is kind of like a Zoom podcasting kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, it was people's, you know, their mics. They don't have a good professional mic like I've got right here. And so, you know, it's just the laptop mic, and it sounds like crap. But, you know, and I made sure to let the client hear the crappy audio in the first cut, and then I would wow them in the second cut, you know, with the podcast audio, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, what did you do to that audio?" It's like, I got a trick or two up my sleeve, you know, because it's that podcast thing feature is just amazing. For anybody on this who doesn't know what I'm talking about, just Google Adobe Podcast, take your worst audio that you have and upload it and see what it sounds like once you get it back, because it's
Interesting.
phenomenal.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it really is, you know. Yes, thank you, Justin, yeah, for putting it there in the chat.
There's probably this there's probably services now, like I'm tracking a lot of this AI stuff. It's like you probably can upload your own voice and change the voice to be your voice if you feel like it.
Yeah,
It's like
completely
everything is now just completely mutable, completely fungible. It's just like, what the heck?
Yeah,
So this is in beta right now.
Yeah, podcast is in beta. But yeah, it's been in beta for a long time. So I have to think that, you know, we're in June. I want to pray and hope that the max release of Premiere or at least Audition will have podcasts built into it. You know,
So
that seems like a good time when they always put all the really big, cool new features in.
So podcast is cleaning up your audio to sound professional.
Yeah. I don't know.
And it does it using AI technology.
Yes. Yeah.
Very interesting.
The problem with it, the one problem with it is, and I'm trying to see if I have anything on here that because I did that project that I was working on had. So let's see, that's not it. I was trying to see if I have like a before and an after here, but I don't think I have those on here anymore. Nuts. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I don't, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe next month I'll try to show. I can do like a quick demo and I can kind of show like how it works. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, game-changing stuff. Like I said, just take your phone, hold it out here and record some audio and hear how bad it sounds.
Yeah.
And then take that audio, put it through podcast and see how it sounds, and you'll hear what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really amazing. But the problem is right now is it's just sort of this black box that you put something in and then it just comes out and there's no way to control it. And sometimes, depending on how bad that audio is, you know, it's the compression or, you know, whatever they're doing to it is a little too much, and you might want to dial that back. And so I think I want to believe that's probably where they're getting, you know, they're trying to develop all that, how to build sliders and actually control that cleaning up so that it doesn't sound too processed, you know, and you can kind of dial things back a little bit, find that happy medium instead of just, you know, like it is now, where you just upload it and then you just get back what you get back. I uploaded something one time and it spit it back out and it sounded great, but it was completely out of sync. Like it wouldn't sync up to my video. And I sent some people I know at Adobe a little note saying, hey, you know, what's going on here? And they said, oh, you know, can you try uploading it again? Send us the file, blah, 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 blah. And I did all that. And I just simply re-uploaded the audio And then the second time it synced up perfect. It was fine. So it was just like a, glitch in the matrix. But
So it sends you back you can upload a video file and it sends you back the video
No.
file.
no,
Or just
you
just the
you
audio?
upload audio. So
That's the
that's what
audio.
I was-
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Justin. So
Yeah.
you want to bring your clip. So like this, this timeline, I would, if the audio were kind of bad on it, I could just create a WAV file. You want to do WAV file. You don't want to do MP3 because that's compressed. So do like a WAV file. You would go to the podcast website. It'll have this thing, upload file, upload the file, and then you just wait. And then it works fairly quick. I haven't done anything that's been really, really long. Most of the clips have been at most, 30 minutes long. And I think it took like 15 or 20 minutes to maybe do it, to process it. And then it'll just leave the webpage up and it'll say, your file's ready, click here to download. And I think it gives you an option to play it. But I usually just download it and then, it's good to go.
Will it take AIF files as well?
I believe it will. Yeah, I think you can do AIF files or WAV. I being in Windows land, I use WAV. So,
Right.
But yeah, I think you can do both.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
So it works better than Isotope.
yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I use I have Isotope. I also have Clarity Waves, which is another phenomenal noise cleaning program or plugin, I should say. But yeah, it does a far better job. I mean, what Isotope and Waves really does is just help you filter out background noise.
Right.
What podcast is doing is it's actually changing the dynamics and the sound of the voice. I mean, I really wish I had something here to play to show you guys, and I'm sorry I don't, but it like, how like normal Zoom calls sound, if you don't have a good mic, it sounds kind of crappy, especially if, the people are kind of far away, whatever. This makes it sound like you're talking right into a mic. I mean, it's like I said, you really have to hear it. That's why I said, just do a test with your phone. Just hold your phone out here, kind of out a little far, and then talk into it, and then upload that audio, play it back so you can kind of hear you can hear all the whatever and the reverb and all that other kind of stuff in the room maybe.
Yeah.
And this will just completely clean that up.
So it gets rid of room echo then.
It can, yeah.
Wow. Where's that been all my life?
Yeah.
I mean, basically what it's doing is trying to find a plausible match for the timbre of the voice that you input. And then it's going off a huge database of recorded sounds and synthesizing a voice that sounds exactly like the one you need and mixing that in when it's obscure sounding.
Wow.
So in a way, what we're doing is we're replacing the client's voice with something that's completely synthesized from probably a million other recordings from the internet.
Wow.
It's fucking wild to think about it. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. It's I
But
mean,
if the client feels like it sounds like them, all right.
yeah.
Yep.
Listen, yeah, it's I mean, I hate to keep using the word game changing, but it really is one of those, it's that level kind of stuff. I mean, what it can do to audio is just phenomenal. And it's like, it really makes it, and it isn't a license to go out and be reckless with your audio. It's definitely a tool to save you when you've got bad audio. But it's, when you've just, you've got crappy audio for one reason or another, it's a tool to, you should always strive to have good audio, without a doubt. But sometimes, let's face it, you're going to get a file that just sounds terrible, and and it's going to be there to save you. So
if you have a client that likes to get testimonials or things and use Zoom a lot, what we do, because we get customer testimonials at work, is I have a kit that I send out with instructions that I wrote on how to use it, and it has one of the little LumaCube lights. It has a Yeti mic and a one of the better Logitech cameras, and plus all the instructions and the stands to put all the equipment on and everything. Yeah. And I send that out, and because I was getting some pretty crappy stuff using like the camera that's at the bottom of the screen on some laptops and the mic, that was what I was getting for testimony.
Yeah. The project that I did for the client, we talked about doing something like that because we had to do patient testimonials. And the problem that we kind of were, I didn't want to run into was, trying to troubleshoot. We had an hour with these people. We get on their calendar, we have an hour with them, and I really didn't want to become Geek Squad and try to help them troubleshoot, especially when at some points I'm 3,000 miles away, and it's like, okay, did you plug it in? What are you seeing on the screen? Well, it's not working. We can't see you. Did the light? Okay, the light's not working. Did you plug the light in? Do you know where it's like you start doing all that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Just
Yeah, that's why what I did with my kit is it's all it's like a Pelican case, and it's all, and like I said, when I send out the kit, I send them a PDF with all the instructions.
yeah.
All the cables are labeled, light, mic,
Yeah.
camera, everything is labeled. And with the customer testimonials, we usually do a dry run ahead of time, or we a few days or a day or so before, to be sure that everything is up and running before we actually record.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I have detailed, very simple instructions and everything. It's like Garanimals for audio production.
Well, so next month I will, if just in case anybody who, hasn't seen it, I will, but I would encourage everybody on this call to go play with it if you haven't, and see for yourself how it works. But maybe next month I'll kind of show like a real world example of how I used it, and you can hear before and after. I think I tried to do it at one point, and then over Zoom it just didn't kind of come through as well. But I'll see if I can find something. That's why I would say, definitely go play with it and go see. Ellen, I see your question. Does it also add dynamic interpretation?
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ellen. You can unmute yourself and expand on that if you want to, if you can. Otherwise, you can type in the chat pod. I don't think it does. Maybe if I am understanding you correctly, it's really just for cleaning up the audio, removing background sound, improving the vocal quality.
It's probably compressing the shit out of it so it sounds like radio NPR voice.
Versus cleaning up defects. Does it add any emphasis phrasing? No. It's strictly cleanup. No, that would be something if it could add emphasis and phrasing. There is some plugin out there that kind of can change inflection a little bit. I don't remember the name of it, but I want to say it was from Clarity. I don't think it was Isotope. Or it was Waves. I mean, I think they made something that, whereas if this, if sometimes you want somebody to end a sentence kind of sounding a certain way, you're kind of coming up instead of maybe a certain way, coming down. And this plugin, you could go in and sort of adjust the pitch of their voice or things like that, and change how they end their sentence to make it, or change a word inflection, whatever. I don't remember who made that, and I didn't really. It was like a $200 plugin, and I'm like, I don't need it that bad, but yeah, it seemed really cool. So, but anyway, all right. Well, I think that is it for my stuff. Unless anybody else has any questions, I'm going to turn it over to Steven, who is going to show us an amazing new feature in Photoshop Beta. For those who don't know, Steven Burns is the president of or are you president, co-manager? Or manager? What do you call yourself?
Oh, president sounds good.
I thought you'd probably like that. He is the president. He likes to be referred to as Mr. President of the San Diego Photoshop user group. They've been around forever and a day, and that group is huge. Steven is, without a doubt, probably the most knowledgeable person about Photoshop and all that stuff that I know of in the world. So I'm sure if there's someone out there smarter, only Steven knows who it is. But yeah, his group is amazing. When do you guys meet?
Well, once a month, usually the first or second Saturday, depending on my schedule, from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m.
And where are you guys meeting now?
On Zoom. Actually, basically on Twitch.
Okay.
So in fact, here I'm gonna copy the Twitch address. In fact, we're on Twitch right now. Everybody on Twitch is actually viewing. We got about almost 20 people on there.
Nice.
There we go. So that's the so if you go there now, you'll see us live there. So we meet on Twitch.
Okay.
I use StreamYard. It seems to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's usually one or two guests on there for each meeting. So the next meeting coming up is going to be in July, because we're meeting at the Del Mar Fairgrounds on the 1st of July.
Oh, okay.
So every year during the San Diego County Fair, the Photoshop Users Group will have its meeting in person in the International Photography Exhibition at right in the gallery. So we'll be there on July 1st this year. So
What do you think?
somebody
Very
asked a question. I thought I heard a voice.
Nope. I think
I'm
my-
sorry, I was unmuted and playing somebody's Twitch
Oh,
channel. That's my fault.
Okay.
All right. Well, very good. Very good. So yeah, so look for Steven's group then. And so Steven, go ahead and take it away, man.
Okay. So there's a lot of talk about AI. Thank you for having me again. So it's always great to come back and present for you guys. And the Premiere Pro, and I hear the little talk from Eric, from people going, oh yeah, he's wondering why we're not with the Premiere Pro user group instead of the Photoshop user group.
I don't have any competition, completely different markets.
Hey, it's two different programs.
Two different programs.
They deal with motion graphics. We deal with still graphics. So there's plenty to go around. Okay. All right. So this, once again, as Eric has mentioned, is in Photoshop beta only. You can download that. In fact, I should have had the link up here ready to go to show you guys. In fact, I think I'll go look for it here, and then we'll put it into the chat box. So let's see. So we'll do it this way. We're going to go Photoshop beta. It should give me a link. Generative fill. There we go. Photoshop. There it is. Here it is. So I'm going to copy and paste this link, put it in both the chat for Zoom as well as the chat for Twitch. All right, so if you guys want to play around with this, based on what I'm going to share today, you have to download this public beta. So that's what I'm using right now. Okay, I'm going to minimize this real quick. So check it out. It's a lot here to see and learn. I'm going to explain a little bit about what it's doing. And this is the stuff that's nightmares. That's a nightmare for photographers and artists because there's some current controversy right now about copyright. And currently, copyright is not allowing AI generated technology to be copyrighted. So you have to keep that in mind. Adobe is working on a way to allow you as the artist to use AI generated work and copyright it. And what they're planning to do is to pay the artists whose work has been used to generate your concept or your prompts that you put in. So a prompt is just text, right? It's text in the box. And you put in a prompt like, sandy beach with stormy skies, and however many images were used to create your prompt, Adobe plans to compensate those artists for that. Adobe's able to do this because they're training their AI engine based off of their Adobe stock. And they've got millions of images in Adobe stock. Does that make sense? I know this. What is the lawsuit that's going on right now with oh gosh, what's there's one going on? I think it's with what's the other stock company? It's Getty Images.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's Getty Images, and it's not DALL-E. It's Stable Diffusion, I believe it is. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. Because they were using Getty Images to train their AI engine. And of course, Getty was not compensated for it. So we'll see where that's going to come to. So that's kind of what Adobe plans to do. It's a nightmare for artists because now, if your work is out there on the internet, that's what these AI engines are doing. They're going out there and they're looking at all the content out there, because it can't create something from nothing. It's going to create something from examples or the millions of examples it has access to. So so it's a little bit of a nightmare for artists in that respect. But the joy and the creativity that it brings to most everybody. There's a caveat to that, in that those who are never artists, never learned to paint, never learned to draw, never learned to use a camera, can now do it with a simple text-based prompt. And that's exciting. And it's addictive. And I have a family member who's doing it. He's doing some outstanding stuff, and he's gotten really involved. I think he's using DALL-E. He's doing some great stuff, and he's never taken an art class, right? So it's a whole new world out there. But on the other hand, it's basically a testament that the creative aspect to all this is not about technique. It's about vision. Very hard to copyright vision. Very hard to in a lot of cases to replicate vision. So basically, this AI engine is a really fancy way of compositing things together, right? In some very dynamic and interesting ways. All right, so I want to make a point about the AI engine in Photoshop, in that currently DALL-E and other AI programs, you have to go to their website, right, to do a prompt. I'm going to create a file here. Let me close this one out. I was kind of experimenting with this a little bit.
I think you need to share your screen though, Steven, so we can see it.
Oh, I see. I see. People on Twitch are seeing me, but you guys are not. Okay,
Yep.
There we go. Because I have to share through. There we go. All right. So I'll move this on over here to that screen. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get rid of this here. Yes. Just go away. All right. So I want to close that down. I wanted to say no, actually, to that one. Thank you. All right. And I don't really want to talk about, okay, I'll tell you what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create something from nothing, right? Just to kind of show you how it works. Let me go here and shut that one down too. And let's not save that. Cool. We got a fresh Photoshop interface. So I'm working right here. That little symbol in the top left-hand corner is telling you that this is the beta version. That little PS in that white grid background. So I'm gonna go over here and create a brand new file. Now, the limitation to AI right now in Photoshop is that it's limited to 1024 by 1024 pixels. That's the biggest you can go. It will not match your file size. Currently, I expect that to change. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm making a new document here. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to customize that document. I'm going to tell Photoshop to make the document for 1024 by 1024 size pixels and click create. So you basically, when I first started using Photoshop, in my beginning Photoshop class, one of my mantras has been the key to mastering Photoshop is mastering selections. And that selections and masks are basically the same concept, right? And it continues on, right? So we're still using that philosophy. So for generative AI to work in Photoshop, you need to tell it where you want to put things and how you want to do it. So we do that through selections, right? So I'm going to make just for giggles, I'm going to make just a brand new blank file here, not file, but a layer, a blank layer. And we need to have a selection. So if you notice right down here at the bottom, I made the F key to kind of maximize this. I've got my square document. Right at the bottom, we have this little prompt, this little floating prompt, right? Kind of nice. And it's looking for something to select. That's why you see the select subject there. If it's a landscape, you can tell it to remove the background, but there's nothing there. So we need to tell it to do something. So I'm gonna hit Command A, which means select all. Now the box changed. The little button on the box changes. Now it says generative fill. So if I deselect it, it just says select the subject. If I select everything, it says, okay, I can do something now. I want to fill it with something. So we're going to do something kind of fun. Let me go get it. Oh, rats, I hate it when I do that. Do that. Okay, there we go. So I've gone to the internet to Chat GPT. Okay. And in Chat GPT, I decided to put in a prompt. Well, I put in keywords asking Chat GPT to create the prompts for me. So prompts are basically nouns and adjectives, basically nouns or nouns with adjectives, right? So you can't tell it to take a red barn, and you can't tell the AI engine to say in Photoshop to say, take that red barn and turn it yellow. It won't understand you. It needs nouns. Okay. So here I put in a prompt in Chat GPT to tell Chat GPT to make prompts for me. And the prompts I put in here, prompt for stormy seas and lightning skies. And Chat GPT did all the prompting that I need to put in any AI engine. All right, whether it's DALL-E or Stable Diffusion, doesn't matter. So I'm going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to just put this back on my second window over here. And then I'm going to come back to Photoshop, make sure I select it, put inside that chat box those exact prompts. So, and there it is. It's in there. Now I'm going to click generate or hit enter on the keyboard, your choice. And we sit back and relax. Now it's going to the cloud. It's going to Adobe servers, looking at all the Adobe stock, and it's going to try to create, and there it is. Okay. Now what's nice about this is it gives me three options right down here. So this is one. This is another. And here is yet another. So if I wanted to get ideas for creating a concept, I don't necessarily have to have an image in front of me. I can generate it this way. Okay, let's go to another layer. Let's go ahead and make one more layer right above this one, because if you take note of the layer that we were just using on the bottom right-hand corner, that is your visual symbol telling you that that is an AI generated image. If I want it to be a normal layer, I can right click on the blank side on the right side of the layer, and I can I'm going to hit rasterize to make that a normal layer if I choose to do so, right? Or I can convert that to a smart object. So we still have those features available to us in Photoshop. All right. I'm going to attach my properties prompt right down here at the bottom, so the two are kind of stuck together. Let's go play. Let's go generate another one. So I've got another blank layer up here. Let's see what else we can do. Now notice that when I selected the blank layer inside the property box, those prompts went away, because those prompts are only associated to this AI generated layer. And there they are. They're back again. If I generate the prompts again, I'll lose those three prompts. That's why I'm selecting another layer. So if I wanted to keep these two, and I'm just right now, I'm just playing. I'm just going to have fun with this. So I'm going to say, okay, select it again, Command A. Let's go to Generative Fill, and let's put in that same one again, same text again, and generate. Sit back and relax and see what it does. And what I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to start progressing, and we get something different. All right, now we got three more, one there, and one there. Now I'm thinking, I like this one, right? Maybe let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the one on the bottom. So I like this one there for that one. And if I turn that off, I'm going to bring the other layer up here. If I turn off that top one temporarily, okay, I go down to the bottom one and take a look at what I've got here. So maybe I like this for the bottom half for the other image. And now I can think about compositing the two together. All right. So I can use my standard selection tools. Let's actually do that. Let's go to the top one. Let's go right over here to my quick selection tool. Maybe object selection tool. I'll use quick selection tool and just select that up there. Okay. Just as an example. I will now, let's inverse that one, Command Shift I for inversing selection. And let's just place it on its own layer just for giggles. Okay, now it's on, and then turn that off, and you can see we'll take that image there, hit the V key for the move tool, and of course we can start playing around with this, or vice versa. So the whole concept here is that we can start creating images and start compositing together using AI. All right, so what more can we do with AI? Let's say, for example, let's turn this one off. That was the one I created. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to select this one here. I tell you what, let's do this one here. Let's have some fun. Let's do this one here. Let's go here to my selection tool and select that top portion. Just the top. And we're going to come down here to generative fill. And let's put in here sunny blue skies. And see what happens. So it creates a new generative fill layer. Take note of my selection. And there you go. So Jeff is having a great time over there. He's kind of like, what? All right. So I'm not using any of my own images. I'm just doing this using Adobe's stock to do what my commands tell it to do. So we get three options down here, right? I've got one there. I've got that one there. And let's go take a look at that one there. Okay, that one's probably the better one. All right. So you have to decide which one of these is going to work best for you. They're not going to come out perfect. Some will come out better than others. All right, so I can do it again, right? If I can, let's stay on this one and let's just generate again. Now look down here in your property spots and I've got my 3 generated images. Now let's just leave it there and generate again. So click it and we're going to sit back and relax. Watch what it does and see what it gives us. All right, so now, oh, I was wrong about that. It did not delete my 3 images. Okay, so it added it on there. Okay, so scratch my last comment. So there we go. There's more. There's another. That one looks pretty good. That's probably acceptable. And then going back through the others, and I can do it again. And these will stay attached to that AI generative layer. And there we go. So what if we say, let's change the prompt up a little bit. Let's go over here. If you notice, I have my mask, right? So if I want my selection back, I simply hit Command or Control, click on the mask. Hold down Command or Control, click on the mask, and I get my selection back. So let's try birds flying. Birds flying in cloudy skies. So birds flying in cloudy skies. How about cloud-filled skies? And sit back and relax. Let's see what happens. And it's fast. And I don't see any birds in this one. So there's some clouds. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, cool. And let's take a look at the next one. No, all right. Maybe we can do something kind of cartoony or dreamy with this. I don't know. But that one's not working too well for me. What if we put in something like let's do something else. How about flying? Oops, that's it. Let's do this. Let's go and just get rid of that one, highlight that one. Let's do flying dragon in sunset sky. And I'm gonna hit enter on my keyboard. Sit back and relax. Wait for the progress bar. And there we go. I don't see any flying dragons. But that's a sunset filled sky. Let's take a look at that one. Now, sunsets are not too bad. Okay, there's a flying dragon. So not so it's not very successful in this one. So if it's not successful, you just do it again, hit generate again. And let's see if we can come up with something. Something.
Hey, Steven, so there's no way to currently sort of like up the photorealism of things. I mean, the sunset, like that sunset looks pretty realistic to me.
Yeah.
You know, but like that, you know, like those dragons look rather cartoonish. I mean, if you really have a really sort of real looking dragon, is that just sort of beyond where it's at right now? Or is there a way to sort of
I don't know how to accurately answer your question. Now remember, they're pulling from Adobe stock, right?
Right.
Well, does Adobe stock going to have a lot of real dragons in it? You think?
There's so many real dragons in the world. I can't imagine why they wouldn't.
Exactly.
Quick question.
Yes.
So I know that like and this might be, I might be getting ahead of you, and if so, I do apologize, but this does speak to what Eric does. I know in other AI, kind of generative things, you can kind of give it like styles to do, so like Van Gogh piece, and it kind of brings in those styles.
Good. Let's do it. That's flying dragon in the sunset sky in what do you want to do? Van Gogh? Or give me an artist name, DJ.
Oh, we could do Van Gogh, or we could do Vermeer. We could do
Vermeer. Make sure I spell it right. Vermeer.
Two E's, double E. You got
Mark Rothko. Do it in Mark Rothko style.
Rothko. That's true. Mark Rothko. Okay, that'll be interesting. I like Mark Rothko. Okay, like I spell it right.
Too. He's one of the few artists whose names I totally remember because I had to write a paper about him in college.
If that doesn't work, we can do Jeffrey Koons. It can be a nice little balloon dragon.
Yeah, I tell you, we'll do both. Okay, we'll do that one first. All right, we'll generate.
Do Pollock next. Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock. Oh, okay. At least we get a dragon on the first try. We didn't even get it on the first two tries. There's another. Okay, that
looks actually pretty cool.
This better. Okay, is getting better. But we get more of a cartoony sunset, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
It really is kind of cool. Now, if you think about it, if we're getting a cartoony dragon in sunset, why not? Let's duplicate this layer. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm just kind of using my imagination here. And let's flip this mask. So Command or Control I, it flips it. So we're seeing that we're only going to see the bottom. And if we target the image, I may need to rasterize this, but we'll see. Image adjustment, and it's a posterize. I believe it's under image adjustments. There it is, posterize there. Okay, which is going to reduce my colors down to, to kind of get something close to my my dragons there, if you wanted to do that. Right, just okay, so let's do it again. Let's use, now I tell you what, let's use go back to the original. I'm going to delete this one, that layer. Let's go back to the original one. Let's put in flying dragon in the style of Jeff Koons. But first, hold on a minute. I forgot to do something. Let's select the area that we're going to affect, which is going to be the top. Okay. All right. So generative fill, flying dragons in the sunset. Flying dragons in the sunset. Jeff Koons style. Let's see what happens. Okay. One or more words in your prompt. Violate. They violate? So there's some words in my prompt that actually violates. It's probably the Jeff Koons part. Because he's controversial. All right, so we got several different options. So here, let's move this out of the way, pull this in the bottom. Dragons are getting a little better. And there. Huh. Kind of interesting.
It's very cool.
Isn't that very cool? So now let's try something different. Let's go.
For those who know Jeff Koons, is this in his style? Is it
Not really.
accurate in
He's the
depicting his
balloon
style?
dog guy.
Yeah,
So the one that actually came up before, the very first one, it almost had like the shading that kind of made it feel like there was a balloon aspect to it. But he's the guy that did the big balloon dog that,
right, the guy at the LA County Museum of Art there.
yep, that's his style. So I was thinking that it'd be kind of fun to have some dragons that way. Like, but yeah, I mean, the first one, it didn't look like it, but I could almost see like I could see a connection because it felt like it was maybe there was a shading on it that did make it feel balloony.
I don't know why he'd be controversial or why he'd cause a problem.
Well, we can talk about that later. Because I have a book on Jeff Koons that's quite controversial.
But they're puppy dogs. Come on.
No, the book didn't necessarily show these, but
gotcha.
but that's basically that's what he's known for.
All right, yeah, okay, good to know.
Okay. All right. Now, let's keep this in mind. So basically, you have I tell you what, let's take this, let's delete the mask. I'm just going to drag the mask in the garbage can. Let's work on this image now, alone. That one right there, alone. And what should we do? How about flying dragons fighting? In the fiery, mist. Let's see what it does. All right, so it, for some reason, it kept my mask. I'm gonna hit my shift click on the mask. Okay, that's without the mask. That's interesting. That's kind of cool, actually. All right, let's take a look at these. So 1, 2, 3.
I vote for 3.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm tired of dragons. Let's do let's do something else. All right, so let's go into bridge. Okay. Now, what we're going to do now, I'm going to bring up something. Let me see if I can find it. There she is, sitting by himself. So we're going to take this one and we're going to, let me grab my other pen here. Come on, double click it. Get up there. Open up. There we go. We got our ship. I'll go ahead and duplicate that real quick. And we're going to do something a little different here. So we're going to, my original photograph is this one here. Okay. So that's the original photo. So we want to do something different with that background. So what I did is is placed the ship on its own layer to assist me. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. So we got it on its own layer. Now I'm going to command click on it just to select everything, the ship itself. Command or control shift I to inverse the selection everywhere around it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tell AI, I want that ship on stormy waters, right? So hit generative AI and put in stormy waters. We'll just start with that for now. Hit enter key on the keyboard, sit back and relax and watch what happens. And it's going to Adobe servers. There you go. Check this out. All right, that's not bad. Not bad for a first try. Let's get this closer. Command 0. There we go. Fill the screen so you guys can see this easier. Now you can see a little bit of lighting problems in here, but let's go to the second one. There's another, and yet do the third one. That one's kind of cool. That was just stormy skies. All right. Let's generate it again. Let's see what it does on a second try. Okay.
Hey, Steven,
Now,
what's going on with the bottom? I can see there's like some transparency kind of coming through. Is there something in the original image that's...
well, Photoshop just crashed. It's nice. There it is. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's something in that original image, Eric. You can see it there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
all right, let's go get Photoshop again. Let me see. Let me bring it back up. It's saying it's there, but I don't. Yeah, it's there. It came back. All right, it rebooted itself, and it's bringing back all my layers. All right, so we'll close out this one for good, just to conserve on memory. Okay, there we go. Now we'll have to do it again. So we'll do it one more time. Command click on it. Command Shift I. So I've got extra areas here that seems like they're not selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to my lasso tool and just hold the Alt or Option key and deselect those extra pixels. Now down here in the bottom, as Eric saw, there's actually some very light pixels or color here. So I'm going to inverse the selection, Command Shift I, and then I'm going to hit Delete key on the keyboard several times until it's all gone. Okay, it's all gone. So that should eliminate that transparency issue that we saw on the bottom. So that was basically my fault for sloppy selection. All right, so everything around it is selected, right? And I'm gonna hold down the Shift key to make sure I've got everything around there selected. Okay, and we're gonna go to AI, and let me duplicate that real quick. Let's go to AI right down here. And we will put in there, we'll start with stormy skies again and see if we get something better and different. Stormy skies. So we have a selection. The key to mastering Photoshop is mastering your selections. But that's getting easier and better. All right. That's very interesting that it did that. It did not select the horizon area for some reason. Let's take a look at another option. That's very interesting. Let me turn this. All right, that's very, very interesting. Let's go take a look at another. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure why it does that. If we look at the mask, okay, so there's something down here in the mask. So I have to come over here and clean it up. All right, fill it with white, which is Alt or Option Backspace. It's a shortcut in Photoshop. I'm gonna turn this one off to make sure. Okay, now there we go. That was the problem. So there's my water. So if we turn off the mask, that's what it did for us. That's the full image. We turn on the mask, we can just go to the mask and edit it. So this is good that it did this, because now you can see how to edit this. So if I go to my brush command on the keyboard and hit the make sure my foreground color is black, I'm editing the mask. I actually want to go the other way. I want it white, right? I'm editing the mask, okay? You can see all these little edges here. That's a little bit of a problem because of the selection. Well, if we go to the mask, just as an FYI, I can come in here. Let's actually take a look at the mask real quick. It's because of these harsh edges. We can blur that, right? So go to filter menu, blur, Gaussian blur. We can give it a slight little blur. I just want a slight little blur. You'll see why in just a moment. So if I go back to the image, I can use my levels command on the mask to edit this. See how I'm editing that? So those edges will be gone. All right, so let's take a look at another option. This is selected. Let's go take a look at the other. Okay, there they go. Now the others are shining through quite nice. Okay, so that's one. That's the second one. And that's the first one. Let's do one more. I've got that mask there if I need it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to utilize this image here. I'm going to drag that on up. Command click to get my selections. That's inverse the selection. In fact, I'll do better than that. Let's get the selection that we know we edited, that we know is going to work really well. So to do that, I'm just going to hit command click right on the mask, and there's my selection. And let's see if Photoshop will honor that. So there's my ship. Let's go back up to the ship, and let's go our AI prompt. And this time we're going to give it stormy skies with lightning. And let's see what it does. What time do I have to go to, Eric?
I'd say, another 15 minutes or so.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so there we go. And that one, there's another version. I'm liking this one way better than the first one. And that one there. You notice how clean it looks now because we edited the mask ahead of time. You still have to have your Photoshop skill sets intact to be the most successful with utilizing AI.
That first one looked like it should be on the side of a van, like airbrushed on the side of a van in like 1980. Like there should be listening to some prog rock, like a lot of Rush.
Exactly. Hey, I'm
Blue
like,
Oyster Cult.
That's right. Rush is badass. I love Rush.
Rush is fantastic.
That would be awesome on the side of a
van. Or something like Iron Maiden or something like that,
It needs a skull on it in that case. Yeah, we're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you add like a skull and crossbones on the one of the?
Oh, let's do it. Let's just put it in there. Let's do. Let's go to this one. All right. Let's. Oh, I tell you what. Why don't we inverse this? So. Let's go to our go to our selection, and now we want the ship selected now, right? Because we want to put something on it. Now, will it work? I don't know. We'll find out. So I just inverse the selection with the Command Shift I, so that the ship is now selected and not the lightning. Then I will go over to my generative fill, skull and crossbones.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Let's see. Now it makes a brand new layer, guys. So it's all non-destructive, which is kind of nice. So let's see what happens. All right. Well, let's see what it did. Let's turn off the mask. Okay, it didn't do anything.
maybe if you, I mean, is it possible to just like
It-
highlight, like circle a spot? Those are all pretty trippy.
All right, I
I
tell
mean,
you
if
what, we'll
if
do
you
it.
just like circled a part of the sail and then just said skull and crossbones as opposed to
All right.
painting the whole ship, would that be possible?
Sure, let's do it. Let's go to elliptical tool. Let's put something right there. All right, and skull and crossbones.
Maybe pirate symbol. If that doesn't work, we could try that too.
Crossbones, pirate. Oops, I gotta spell it right. So pirate symbol.
We really want to be technical about it. It's called a Jolly Roger.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
It
know.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only for us in the pirate community.
Is there a pirate community?
So there actually
Oh,
is.
it
There's
did
like
it.
a whole there's a
It
whole like
did it.
subset of punk rock that's all about some pirates.
It did it. It did it. We got that one. We've got that one.
That one's pretty cool.
We got that one. Okay, but I want the skull and crossbones to be blended in with the sails. So I suppose what I could do is I could change the blend mode on this, right? So say yeah. There we go. Go to darken. Depending on which one I choose.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Isn't that pretty cool? So like understanding Photoshop and its tools, you know that, oh, that one kind of, it looks okay, but if you know your layer blend modes, you know, okay, you go to there, go to darken. Now, if I come over to here, there's the darken there. We've got the white here. If I come over here and again, go to darken. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. Let me show you more stuff that's actually pretty cool. Let's get rid of this file. I'm going to just close it out. Let's go back to bridge real quick. And I've got some city shots that I did here. So I've got, let me find one. Let me find one. Here we go. This is what we want. So let's go grab this one. Come on. All right. So there's my layer. Duplicate the layer, Command or Control J. I want to change this. I want to add more cityscape here. So hit my C key for my crop tool. I want to add more here and probably a little more up here somewhere, and hit enter. And that's going to be the space I want Photoshop to fill. So let's see. Let's go and Command A and do nothing. Let's just hit generative fill and see what happens. See, no prompt, just put it in there. Let's see what it does. Okay. All right. So that's not what I wanted to do. Because it just,
that place looks really nice.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do, but I'll tell you why. Because I want to select the image. So I'm gonna go over here. Photoshop needs a selection. So I want to select everything around this image. Let me kind of get in close here. Okay. So I'm gonna go select just inside the image. I'm gonna do a little bit more. So I'm gonna go a little bit more inside, just kind of go away. Thank you. And then inverse the selection. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of that one. That was an accident. Okay. So everything around the box is selected, generative fill, and just generate. Let it look at the architecture on there. Let it look at the image and see if it can figure out what it needs to do. Let's let it go. Let's let it go. And it's boom.
Okay, there you go. That's a two. Oh, mama.
Exactly.
That's
So,
pretty freaking awesome.
That's pretty
ridiculous.
awesome, right? It's ridiculous. All right. So here we go. So we've got before, after. It's using the same image, right? So heck, we can go further. Let's do some more. Let's take this little guy. Hit the C key for the crop tool. Let's pull that on over some more. Let's give it some foliage down here like this. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna come here, hit my M key for the rectangular marquee tool. I'm gonna bring it inside so it has quite a bit of the image. It gets the chew on before it applies. So let me go ahead, put that there like that. Okay. Command Shift I, and then just generate fill and hit generate. It's got to have a selection, right?
So
That's
Stephen,
what it
are you selecting? So is it just pulling from that kind of big L-shaped sliver on the edge to sort of build from? Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, jeez.
This is just
Okay.
too much fun.
So wait a minute. So I go back to my question. So when you did that, it looked to me like you just kind of outlined the edge of it.
I only grabbed this. Why I only grabbed this outside, the L shape. Oops, come on. I hate it when it does that. Go away. All right, I only grab this
So
L
it's
shape.
okay. So it's only sampling then that sliver at the bottom. It's not sampling really the
No,
image.
no.
I think it's slapping the inside.
Thank you. That's correct.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
looking at the image and
Got
trying
it.
to
Okay.
match the image.
That was
That
just
insane?
nuts.
That's nuts.
Oh,
Just
oh, oh.
nuts.
Okay, that's tools.
What are the?
crazy.
Can you show us the other options just out of curiosity? I know there's.
All right. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I forgot to show you. Okay.
Let's see.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
That one there.
Oh man.
It's pretty damn good.
With reflections and everything. That's
Yeah.
just nuts.
It's nuts. And we do it again.
Oh,
Wow. I mean, and that looks to me, to my eye at least, that looks photorealistic.
Yep.
I mean,
every one of
Yeah.
them is photorealistic.
Yep.
Every
That's
one of them.
phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. So what if we use this scene, right? So now look, I'm building up. So it started with that one. And no, it did. It started with that one. And then we went to that. And then we went to that. Right? So let's do something different. Let's put a prompt in there now. Okay. So let's take this. C key for, I'm going to pull this here, give it a little bit more, give it a little more down here. All right, we'll see what it does. Let's go and target this one right there. Actually, I'll manually do it. So go away. Thank you. M key for marquee and just select big chunk inside. And inverse, Command Shift I. So what I've done is I've currently have the outside selected because I'm telling Photoshop that's where I wanted to put its results. So this time, generative fill, but this time, sci-fi city on a barren planet. I don't know. Sci-fi
Perfect.
city on a barren. So one R is in barren?
E-R-E-N, yes. One E.
Okay. On a barren planet. Right, and enter. Okay, generated images were removed because they violate user guidelines.
Put desert planet. Try desert. Maybe bear.
Right.
Got issues with
Okay.
bear.
Maybe.
All
Yeah,
right.
bear. Yeah.
Sci-fi.
On Tatooine.
Sci-fi
Don't run afoul of any
city
copyright.
on
No, none
desert
whatsoever.
on desert planet. All right, I'm going to copy that because if it doesn't work this time, I'm going to try it on a blank layer and see what it does.
And Stephen, is this? I know you said at the beginning it needs like a 1024 by 1024.
Yeah. So what it's doing is it's restricting it to those outside areas. Let's do this. Let's
Thank you,
duplicate
Jeff.
this layer.
I like your tattooing background.
Right. And let's go ahead and see what happens if we remove the mask. And we just work on this one. But this time I'm going to select all and see what it does. Generate it. No, we want sci-fi city on desert. Planets. Text is so small I can barely see it. It may just completely overtake the whole image and do something on its own. So let's see what happens. Wow.
Which is
So-
kind of, it looks like it kind of did that,
Yeah. So if we go,
but it kept the towers, you know.
it reflected the towers. It's kind of cool. Exactly. It's kind of like, huh? It's got the individual rectangular subject matter here, which reflects the city. And the same for this one.
Oh, that one's cool.
That's very cool.
Huh.
So if you're using 3D technology and you want to use any of these for inspiration, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's freaking amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So I figured let's try another image real quick. Let's go here. Let's go back to bridge. Okay, we've got you know what? Let's do this. Let's use this one. We'll use a landscape image. All right. It's limited to 1024. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this real quick. Just go to image size and we'll go, it's 1500 now. So we'll go 1024. There we go. Just to make it easy on Photoshop. Okay, there we go. Now duplicate my layer, C key. Let's get more. Now I want more of that cliff up there. I want more water and sky. I want more of that cliff. So I'm going to bring that on up. And I want more of that cliff on the right-hand side this way. Okay. Hit enter. Okay. There's my image. So right there. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my selection tool, get a big chunk of it on the inside like that. Inverse my selection because that's the area I wanted to fill, but I want to keep. I want this untouched, but I want to fill everything else out. So I'm gonna come over here to generative fill, no prompt. So if you have no prompt, that means it's gonna try to match your image the best that it can. And let's see what it does. Hopefully it'll impress us. Oh wow.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that's impressive.
That's, yeah. I mean, just for like, I mean, I guess I'm trying to think like in video terms. Like, yeah,
Right.
can we see the other options?
Well, yeah, look at the other options. This is coming to video, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for like set extension. I mean, you know, I only have to shoot.
Oh,
Oh,
look
wow,
at
that's
this.
super cool.
That's very, very cool. So now I'm using all my time to composite things together to create something different. Now this can do a lot of it for me.
Yeah.
at a time.
I mean, that's
Let's generate again. Let's do it again. So we will actually, if what would happen if I'll just hit generate and see what happens. No selection. If it does what I want it to do, then that means that wow. So
ooh.
oh, that's great.
That's cool too. I like the buildings on the background.
Yeah, so do I. In fact, let's do it again.
Jeff, to answer your question, so Firefly is kind of its own thing.
Right.
You know,
Oh, okay. I thought this was Firefly.
No,
Yeah.
this is Photoshop.
I thought this was built on top of Firefly, I should say.
I mean, I'm sure it leverages stuff that's inside Firefly,
Uh-huh.
you know, but
Oh,
yeah,
Firefly is built off of Photoshop. You have to understand this AI technology has always been in Photoshop. They
Uh-huh.
called it Adobe Sensei.
right.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So when AI finally hit the market, all the real capabilities of Sensei were kind of hidden by Adobe because they were being mindful to their audience. So when AI hit the market and became a big blown up thing, they said, okay, release it. Let Sensei go.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
we click this one. Look at that. Look at this. It's just insane.
That's pretty cool.
This is just way too cool. And you can just keep going.
Yeah.
So let's see. If I base, let me see what happens. If I base it on that one and then hit generate and see what happens.
So that's going to take everything in that image now and create something entirely new.
Yeah, but well, let's see what happens. I'm gonna yeah.
Okay.
See, it's still utilizing the original image. It's using this mask. It's using that mask as a reference.
Right.
All right. And I'm gonna see if that's true. So there we go. See that? See, it's the common thing that stays is that middle section.
Yeah.
See? Now, to test my theory, let's get rid of the mask. And let's see what happens. Generate again.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Ooh, that looks awesome.
Oh, it brought back the mask. That's really interesting. I deleted the mask. So the mask, the algorithms for the mask is inside the AI layer.
Oh.
So that's what's going on here. So I tell you what, we've got let's put in castles. Let's go prompt. Let's put in castle. And let's generate and see what it does. Oh, you're kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
That's cool.
That is cool. In fact, let's take it even further. Let's go here, see, pull it up. Give me some more of this. And see what it does. And let's hit generate. See, you're gonna sit here all night long doing this.
Yeah, I mean it's almost sort of never ending. I mean, you can just it's just up to like whenever you kind of feel like enough is enough.
Well, that's really interesting.
Oh, because maybe it's because you didn't select it.
Well, I didn't last time either. Take this off, take off the mask. The mask, huh? Very interesting. All right, let's do this. We'll do it again. We'll go down here. We will go to our marquee and we'll select it. We will inverse Generative fill, and we will put castle. Maybe next time we'll put rocket ship. All right. See what it does. The clock is ticking. Whoa, wow.
That's
Look at
cool.
that. That's cool. And you notice it's looking a little not as high resolution because it's limited to 1024.
Right.
And it's taking the results of it and stretching it out.
Right.
All right. So let's take a look at another option. That's great.
What's amazing to me too is that it's matching the lighting on the rock.
That's exactly right. It matches all the lighting in your scene.
Yeah.
That's what it's been good at. And let's do rocket ship. Enter. Let's see what it does. Now take note that I didn't have to select anything.
Mm-hmm.
So once it creates once it generates data, I'm assuming it's gonna, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's very interesting. All right, let's take a look at that one.
Kind of
See,
interesting. It's like,
you can tell these images must be from NASA.
yeah,
All right, and it's trying to pull something together.
that's weird.
Isn't that weird? All right, so I tell you what, let's go. Can I go back, undo that? Undo, undo, undo. Okay. What if I go back to this image again and do the same thing? I'm gonna go Command Shift I, and this time generative fill. We're gonna put water wasteland, and I think we're out of time, aren't we?
Yep. So we'll do one more, then we'll
more.
wrap.
Okay.
This will be the last one.
All right. It's fun stuff.
It is, and I'd be curious to know. Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at this. Kind of a wasteland.
Yep.
Take a look at the second option. And the third.
Yeah, that looks pretty
For
good.
for concept painter artists, this can be a godsend.
Oh
because it
yeah.
gives you ideas and you just paint the thing out, right?
Yeah. I'd be curious, DJ, if how you could use this with the clone stamp tool inside After Effects, because you know how you can kind of sample, like, to paint something out of the image. You can go into Photoshop, create a frame, or create a clean plate, and then After Effects could then use that clean plate to sort of help it do its clone stamping. And I wonder if using this and generating something that looks a lot more realistic, as opposed to just painting something out by hand and then using that as a reference in After Effects could help. I don't know.
I think it probably would. I mean, I can't imagine that it would hurt. The only, the only problem then is that it's sampling from something and pulling it a lower resolution. So you might get into some of that kind of issue.
Right.
But we're already using this actually. So I'm doing the NASCAR race that's coming up on July 1st. They're doing the first I'm working on it while we're doing this. They're doing the first road race in Chicago, and we're doing the backgrounds for it. And we're actually doing exactly what you just said, where we're actually using this and a little bit of Stable Diffusion to kind of ideate.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I will, I can, at some point, if after you share, if you want to, I can show you a couple things that I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephen Burns.
You're most welcome.
Dude, you never disappoint. And I don't have the Photoshop beta, but I'm going to download it tomorrow and put it on my system because I definitely want to play with that some more. And
well, it's inside your. In fact, if I share, I'm going to share my screen one more time, and to show everybody where it is, to get it on their machine. Let's go. Come on, do this. Get out of the way. Okay, so here, it's already in your app, your Adobe app. So you just basically go to your. Let's see, where is it? There it is. The Adobe Creative Cloud app. You go to the beta app section and it's already there.
Yep.
So for those of you not familiar with that, so that was it. I just wanted to.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm downloading that tomorrow to play with it. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We
All
will
right.
see you next month. Stephen Burns, you
All
are
right.
the king, dude. You are amazing. Thank you. Thank you. DJ and I will definitely be taking you out to a very nice lunch.
Yes. Okay. So let's text me. Let me know what day is good.
Yes, we will figure that out. So, but yes,
Okay.
thank you everybody. We will see you next month.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Hey,
This is
having me.
fabulous.
Great being
Thanks,
here.
guys.
Bye, guys.
And if anybody watches this is at the San Diego Film Awards, come up and say hey.
Oh
Eric
yeah,
and I will both be there.
that's right. We'll
Okay.
both be there.
So
All right.
All right. Good night,
Hey.
everybody.
Bye. Good night.